Hey, this is the Well Advice Channel 2. What I want to talk about today is a topic of why Trump won the election for US president, okay? Um, so for this video, I am going to discuss, as a left-wing person, why this should serve as a lesson to left wing, that they're going to have to do better when it comes to the ideology and the stuff they've been pushing on to people in order for something like this not to happen again. So now I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to the topic of why Trump won the 2024 election as now president in 2025, the simple reason why he won was because of the radical left. And not just the radical left for that matter, but the things they were pushing on to people. Because the truth of the matter when it comes to the radical left, okay, they were pushing things onto people that made people feel uncomfortable, okay? Whether it comes to topics like how the nation should be won, to moral, ethical topics that made people feel very uncomfortable, the real reason why, you know, um, you know, the left lost as we know it today, of course, since he was just sworn in today, January 20th, 2025, he's sworn as the new president. Uh, you know, to be honest with you, um, the reason why, like I was getting at before, he won was because of the radical left. Because the truth of the matter is, as I'm certain you're aware, especially if you're a millennial, who grew up during when, of course, Trump, was only sought off as a real estate agent, and Barack Obama was elected as the first black president. I'm certain you're all aware that this is a new generation of time compared to previous times, okay? People in general are more liberal than they've ever been before, okay? And this is speaking from things I heard in 2008, for crying out loud. And as I'm certain you're aware, it's easily been 17 years since then, So the truth of the matter is, why is it that something like that could be true, but like obviously the left is people have become a bit more liberal in the long run, compared to previous decades like the 1990s, 1980s, and so on and so forth. But someone like Trump won for that matter, okay? Because even when you look at the ideologies of people when it comes to things, even though someone like Trump won, people are still more left wing than they were before, okay? Whether it comes down to the fact that people could care less about your sexuality compared to previous generations, people could care less about in general, about a lot of different things, not just about the same sex relations like they used to in the past, or it could be topics like race and so on and so forth compared to previous generations of the past. So when we see the world we live in, as we all know, since there's so many famous gay people and people are still buying their records, as well as the fact that people are more open to listening to music genres that they never would have listened to, like Latino, reggaeton or Afrobeat, and there's quite a bit of evidence in general to show that people have become more accepting. Why is it that someone like Trump won the 2024 election? Well, the reason why, which I was getting at before, is because of the radical left, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, even though people, as I was getting at before as well, have become more left wing in general as a whole, the things the radical left, like people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and a lot of these people on CNN were pushing, was just stuff that just made people feel uncomfortable for that matter, okay? Because the things they were pushing was things like calling people by the right name of the right pronoun name, or things like, for example, men kissing other men and even performing sexual acts on other men was something that was being pushed in a mainstream direction. Like even to this day you could still see um commercial images of two men holding hands and kissing and so on and so forth, which I don't know why they would push stuff like that, especially in an age where, of course, and not even an age for that matter, but in a world where everyone can see that stuff and even kids can see that stuff, which obviously is a very inappropriate topic for that matter. and all that type of stuff for that matter, to be quite honest with you, does making people uncomfortable, like always having gay characters in TV shows, because this whole idea of wokeism, what's wrong with having people, who do these activities out there to just different things as well, that were making a lot of people feel uncomfortable, to bad policies, like the idea of instead of arresting criminals, we should rehabilitate them, and of course, let's not forget the infamous, of course, let's not this particular situation that they definitely are guilty of is trying to promote communism or socialism, whatever you like to say, onto the American people and saying capitalism is not working, okay? And these are the reasons why they lost, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, these are things that make people feel uncomfortable, okay? And the truth of the matter about society, in all honesty, from what I've personally know, is we have reached a somewhat of a moral perfection that we have actually never experienced in human history, okay? We've reached a point now as a society where it's like you can do whatever the hell you want to do as long as you're not telling other people it's okay. In other words, forcing on other people. People don't really seem to care anymore, okay? Compared to in the past, okay? People don't really seem to care compared to in the past, okay? Just like being gay anymore. When you ever hear people saying that, oh, let's beat up a fag, or let's set them on fire, let's jump them. You don't hear that anymore. I remember growing up in the 2000s, you used to hear that shit all the time. Who says that anymore? Okay? People are way more accepting of whatever you want to do with your life, whether it's moral or not. It's just the question of not forcing it onto people. Okay? And the left were forcing this stuff on people. They were going to schools and pushing this type of topic, you know, that made people feel uncomfortable, especially little kids who, of course, are young and don't know better. Not to mention, of course, we also have to take in consideration the fact that these sorts of things are things that not only you might do, you can't just turn back the clock and say, oh, this was a bad decision. I shouldn't have done this. So that's the biggest reason why they lost. And the other reason is the whole communist socialism thing they're trying to push, okay? That is the other reason why they lost, because the truth of the matter is socialism, as history has shown, does not work, okay? This is the truth about reality, and the truth about reality, reality again, to make sure you get the point. It does not work, okay? We've tried it before as a species numerous times in all the continents. It doesn't work. It's too complicated to understand how it works. Um, it doesn't work. It never has worked, and it just never will work for that matter, okay? So that's the reason why the left lost. They were just pushing things on a people that made people feel uncomfortable. And the truth of the matter is, knowing how this world works, remember, in the end of the day, if you push something on a people, and or just push something in general for that matter, and it doesn't work, guess what? You can't take it back, okay? Whether it's a poor moral choice you made, or even the idea of course, no surprise, um, you know, um, poor economic policies, especially in an age where technology has advanced so much, particularly when it comes to surveillance, it makes it just about impossible to rebel. You can't take it back. And that's the thing the left doesn't understand. Instead of focusing on just simply having basic policies that would work and could make life better for people, like, for example, less racism, like less police officers stopping you and all this type of stuff, they're trying to push revolutionary shit on people. And that's the reason why they fucking lost, instead of actually focusing on just basic issues. It's like that cliche story about like that family where where they're asking you, where they may have a discussion about like maybe making things better, like what do you think would make the world a better place, and there's one young person who's with his family goes on this radical tirade about this and that, instead of just giving a basic answer to things. And it's the same thing for the left wing. Instead of focusing on policies that actually matter and work, they were just pushing things that made people feel fucking uncomfortable and unhappy, in all honesty. Because, Americans don't play when it comes to topics like morality and politics, okay? And they're pushing it on the people. So this should serve as a learning lesson to the left wing, speaking as a left wing person who does not like the right wing because they have a long history of racism and have failed to call out the racist people. For that matter, is that for us left wing people, we are going to have to really call out this shit anymore. The radical left need to be separated from the left wing. They've been given us a bad image in the eyes of the general public, and they've screwed everything up. And we were actually making quite a bit of significant progress before the radical left came in the mix, for example, to be quite honest with you. Okay? The radical left, truth be told, needs to be stopped. And until we are able to get rid of them, things are not going to improve when it comes to the liberals left, liberals' reputation for that matter. Okay? So that is the truth of the matter. So, anyway, this is my video. I hope you enjoyed it as well as found it informative. And I just want to let you know, to be quite honest with you, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And hopefully you learned a life lesson today if you didn't know it already. And as I often say, bye.